Military members of Reddit, what's one thing you wish that you knew before joining? That recruiters' jobs are basically to funnel people into specific jobs that maybe they are down in numbers on. So that amazing job and skill set that you are a perfect fit for with your test scores is likely just Johnny Recruiter meeting his numbers. Mama told Johnny not to go downtown. The Marine Corps recruiter was hanging around. Wait until the 1st of October at least to join. Don't join in September. Why? Fiscal year starts 10/1, which is also generally when all the good jobs become available. And then get your MOS job. Put in fricking writing in the contract. Your recruiter is there to put asses in seats for whatever branch. He's your B, not the other way around. If you want something, have it put in writing. He doesn't necessarily give two shoots about you, some do. Most will straight frick you to make a quota. So don't trust the mother, and don't join in September when all the good crap is gone. Unless you really want to join the infantry and take it from a former infantryman, you don't. Go push paper or turn wrenches or whatever. You'll be happier and have real experience when you get back to the real world. It's an inhuman machine that doesn't care about you. This isn't inherently a bad thing. It just is. But what it means is that you need to look out for your own interests. The military will not. Any attempt to guilt you out of looking out for your own interests is misguided at best and predatory at worst. The "we're all brothers in arms" creed applies to the very, very few individuals whom you trust with your life. Everyone else is part of the machine. Look out for them too as part of being a decent adult. But put your own oxygen mask on first. Broader advice for those joining: save your freaking money. Literally all of your income is disposable. Your shelter, utilities, food, gym, medical, and dental are covered. And this is the one time in your life when you can easily save more than half your income and still have enough to party your butt off. You can very easily save up a down payment on a house while you're in that, a valuable job skill, and the GI Bill can set you up extremely well for success in the civilian world. Alternatively, you can get a brand new Mustang at 19% APR from the local dealership and throw the remainder of your paycheck at strippers. Same thing, I guess. Undervalued post right here. Go to medical when things hurt. Not change your socks. Not ignore it. Tell them it's an 8+ out of 10 on the pain scale or they won't document it. Then when you get out, you can have a valid history and have accountability, versus the VA disregarding your injuries as service related and telling you to pound sand. The recruitment process is a negotiation, and it represents the last time that you'll have all the power in your relationship with the military. I joined and went into a high demand MOS at the height of the war on terror. Most people in my training platoon had received bonuses in the tens of thousands of dollars, and some of them picked otherwise hard to get follow-on training, such as airborne school if you are not in combat arms, or even selected all but impossible to get first duty stations. I, meanwhile, received a sandwich because I wasn't aware of the power dynamic. On a less serious note, some portion of the people who join will do so because they have heard that women love a man in uniform. The more important axiom to remember is that the love for a man in uniform is inversely proportional to their proximity to a military base. This axiom is well earned and constantly reinforced. A guy in my platoon in boot camp back in '09 joined because of Call of Duty 4. That it isn't an exception to other government organizations. Minimal budget with maximum paperwork hurdles. Somehow planes and missiles and bombs get bought daily and often recklessly, but if you want a paperclip you'll have to cry your eyes out only to hear that the allotted budget for office supplies has run out in May. Have a plan for getting out from the moment you go in. I see so many people who hate their job stay in for 20 years because they have no other plans. Have an exit plan ready when you go in, and work towards it. You can have a degree done in 4 years of service, or nothing. That there are some pretty decent people, but a huge amount of idiots and pieces of crap you have to be around all the time. No different than most labor jobs really. The worst part of your early military service is not basic training, it's MEPS. MEPS is a domain of the damned and full of the biggest buttholes in uniform. You will face a battery of exhausting tests and paperwork, and when you are the most tired, they will try to push into some or other career field that is on demand. Do not make a decision based on what they tell you. They are not your friend and don't give the slightest crap. They just have boxes to fill. Pick the job you want. They might tell you, well, no openings there. Might take a while. This is often a total lie. Call them on it. Walk out the door. Wait if you have to. It's way better to wait a few months than to have a job you hate and are stuck with for years. Great advice my recruiter gave me. Believe it or not, at MEPS, the correct answer to most questions is no. Ever had a speeding ticket? Number. If you say yes to these questions, you still get in. It just often means more delays and paperwork. At basic training, never volunteer for anything, ever. Be as invisible as possible. You don't want your DITI to know your name or anything about you as long as possible. Almost nothing that happens at basic training, apart from learning basic stuff, matters for your career. Nobody cares about honors. You will probably never see any of those people again. It's a very short amount of time, really. Don't get invested. Don't get upset at the idiots in your group. Remember, it'll be over soon. Knuckle down and do what you have to get by. Agreed. In basic, good attitude is everything. As my dad said, don't let the bastards weigh you down. Realize there is a reason for everything they have you do, although not usually readily apparent. If you want a specific job, do not sign the contract until your recruiter gets that job for you. I wanted a cyber job in the Air Force and my recruiter told me to go and open electrical and hope I get cyber because it would be too long of a wait to be guaranteed that job. I ended up with a job I hated instead. The military will take whatever it wants from you, so make sure you get all you possibly can from it. Don't take the yelling at basic training personally. Even when they single you out, it's not personal. Though we had one swab who was absolute garbage and we did everything in our power to make him quit. He was eventually kicked out a few months after basic. An extra $20,000 isn't worth an extra 2 years of service. Don't take a 6-year contract. Take the 4. Oh, also, volunteering can mean sweeping the sunshine off the pad, or it can mean being the only guy going home early because you're the only volunteer. Duty. I wish I knew that once I got to a ship I would have to spend 2 or 3 nights on board standing 12 hours of watch, in addition to a normal working day. I could handle it if we didn't go underway every couple weeks for up to 2 months at a time, not including deployments, but the lack of being able to plan or really look forward to anything was what drove me to get out. This is exactly why I didn't join the Navy. I had no idea it'd be that bad, but I knew I didn't want to spend several months at sea at a time. Since then, I've learned enough to be very pleased with my choice not to join the Navy. Happy I didn't consider myself fit enough to join the Marines. Spoiler, I wasn't. And mildly annoyed that I didn't look harder into the Air Force before picking Army. One piece of advice people always give you is embrace the suck. That is, it's gonna suck. Make the best of it. As a kid with your heart set on being a Marine infantryman, that just sounds awesome. You picture the suck in Spartan terms, charging through knee-deep snow, bayonet out, giving a mighty war cry as the enemy cowers in terror at your massive brass balls. Turns out, the suck is having to stay late on Friday because your one SGT forgot that he needs to check the serial numbers on everyone's gear before the weekend. Or spending your weekend mopping the barracks because there's a rumor that the commandant might be on base, even though there's zero chance he'll be in your room, because why would he be? Or sitting through hours upon hours of government mandated PowerPoints warning you of the dangers of tobacco use, presented by a bored SSGT rocking a lip the size of a golf ball. If this ain't the fricking truth. Married soldiers live a very different life than single ones. Living in the barracks you'll be sharing a room with slovenly idiots, living through frequent inspections, noise when you're trying to sleep, etc. But the 18-year-old kid who marries his high school girlfriend is given a free house to live in, no inspections, no bulls cleaning the barracks duty. All he has to do is live with an army wife. The barracks ain't so bad. Just have 2 soldiers come to an arrangement. First sergeant, we're gay and getting married this weekend. 1 free house please. Every job gets paid the same regardless of glory. Being infantry sucked a lot, but being ordnance pays the same but less suck factor. You rarely see the clerks at the VA due to broken bodies, mostly combat arms. They all get the same retirement. If you're depressed and or suicidal, please go to behavioral health or talk to a chaplain or use the veteran crisis line or anything. It is okay to seek help. Do not try to hold it in. Don't be like me and try to bottle that crap up, because one day you will have a breakdown and it will feel like heck. I tried hiding my depression for over a year and a half, and what resulted was a horrible drinking problem, losing a woman that I loved dearly, and she truly cared for me and tried to support me, but I pushed her away. I pushed my family away. I pushed all of my new and old friends away, and when I broke down I tried to hang myself in my closet at the barracks a few months ago with some rope I bought, but I got scared once my vision started going, so I stopped myself. I did these things and endured with little to no help and pretended my depression was a sign of weakness, because that's honestly the stigma sometimes. I was so worried about maintaining a positive image within my MOS, which is combat, so of course everybody acts macho, that it nearly cost me my life. I realize this job ain't worth losing my life over due to battling depression. Even though I still struggle mentally, daily, the loneliness, or rather the feeling of it, is honestly the hardest part of all of this. Get some help or seek any resources you have, and please don't make the same mistake I have. The one lifelong regret I have, after serving 23 years active duty, is all the friends and colleagues I made over my years of service that I'll never get to see again. Met and worked with hundreds of people, none of which are part of my life any longer. Sucks. I got found on Facebook by some old shipmates from my first command. We talk every now and then at least. These were the people that molded me into the drunk I was, lol. If you joined the Air Force because you think it's cushy, stay the frick away from being a crew chief on legacy aircraft. I'm talking F-16s and F-15. They are both 40 years old and behind the curve when it comes to mechanical innovations. Also, the work is backbreaking and crappy as fuck. If you end up as aircraft maintenance, try and be an avionics guy or a newer airframe mechanic. It'll help in the long term, but be prepared to be crap on by everyone and their brother for not being fast enough, slow enough, good enough, worse enough, and everything in between. As an F-16 crew chief, I can confirm, it was 6 years of misery. You won't be prepared to succeed in the civilian world unless you make the effort to be ready. No one else is going to care. All that crap on TV and you hear about how women love a man in uniform and it'll help you get girls is total balls. Most of the time you're stationed in shitholes, looking at you, Oklahoma, and depending on what you do you're usually gone so often it's really impossible to try and maintain a relationship. Me and my boss are perpetually single, largely because of these two factors. Still wouldn't take it back though. I have no regrets about joining. Oh, being a man in uniform absolutely does help you pick up women. Just probably not the kind of women you actually want to pick up. Before I joined, my brother told me, "You're going to meet some of the greatest people you've ever met, but you're going to meet the worst the world has to offer." I wish I knew how true that statement was. Don't go into it having a "if I'm good at my job, I'll get recognized for that and promoted accordingly" mindset. The military is not the meritocracy that Hollywood has painted it to be all these years. If you don't play the game and kiss butt, you can be the most knowledgeable guy in your job and it still won't mean dong. It was a very rude awakening for me when I started advancing beyond E3 E4. What a colossal waste of time it would be. 11 years being constantly treated like a child, made to clean my room, then later supervising of cleaning of rooms, special classes every Friday, just to be told not to drink and drive and not to rape anyone, inventory the same equipment daily, because there wasn't anything else to do, then get yelled at for not knowing our jobs when there was literally no training conducted. There is no mentality of service to our country, honor, courage, commitment has been replaced by paycheck, benefits, retirement. Marine Corps boot camp is a big stupid game. Don't take it seriously. Do what you are told. Try not to stand out. Yes, you can get billets, jobs that make you feel special and or more advanced than the other recruits, but none of it matters in the long run. Pay attention to detail and be good at your job. That's what will get noticed when it matters. Lead by example and not just to advance your career. Like others have said, don't let them pressure you into ignoring legitimate medical problems. Get them documented. Most of all, don't stay in because you are scared of finding a job on the outside. You will be told how terrible life is outside the military, but most of those who say that, lifers, are just projecting their own fears. That I wasn't mature enough to be on my own that far away from home. Make sure that your head is where it needs to be because you can throw it all away over being homesick. The military is a dual caste system. Officers receive better pay, better housing, better working conditions and etc. You are basically a serf if you go in enlisted. A 40-year grizzled combat veteran is considered less important than a 22-year-old second lieutenant with a 4-year degree in art history. Get your bachelor's first before you join. Thanks. My dad was special operations during Operation Iraqi Freedom, and he told me the same thing. That every skill he acquired doing his job in the army was illegal to use in the civilian world. I'm trying to get advice before I join the army in a year so I can make better choices before enlisting. Think about what you'd want to do for a long-term civilian career. Find a military job that complements that and has transferable skills. Being infantry and having teamwork and leadership doesn't really go a long way to helping your resume after you're out. Do more research on what interests you. If you can, talk to people with experience. I was the only one in my whole family tree who joined the army and had no one to talk to. How is the army? What can you do there? What should you consider and so on. So I go to the recruiter and ask him what I could do in the army. He just tells me, here is a sheet of paper with all the jobs at the army. I looked at it and thought the Marines were good for me. Something with IT. Day of my recruitment comes. I pass all the tests and at the end I have two mean looking officers telling me I shouldn't be in the Marines and I look strong and should go special forces. Go airborne son. Sure, I'll do airborne. 1B special forces. I went. It was decent. But after a year or so I knew that if I keep staying here and leave the army one day, I have no skills for civilian life. So I wanted to change into an office job doing spy communication. My boss didn't want no special force guy go into an office chair, so he told me that he will not write me a recommendation letter, so I can't get the job. Half a year after that I faked not being able to walk without pain to get out of airborne duty. Then they accepted me leaving earlier. I really loved the army, still in the reserves, just wished that I had some more research before joining. There are so many cool jobs out there. You just need someone from your family or buddies to talk to, or do your research on the internet on things that might interest you. Invest in your TSP account from the beginning and don't stop. Also, good God, please consider the Air Force. The military or NS will wear off in a year or two and you'll be wanting a normal but not balls job. When you're being shouted at by superiors, never show any emotion and always respond calmly. They won't show it, but they will have more respect for you. Alright, thanks. I'm going to plug my tear ducts with super glue cause I'm soft. Don't take no for an answer when choosing your job. I was told 5 times that what I wanted wasn't available. When I finally got fed up and threatened to back out of enlisting altogether, it magically became available. Luckily my recruiter was the one who gave me that advice before MEPS. Didn't know getting in, and fell into it, which all worked out, and this might be Navy specific but I think all branches do it. Get a technical job. Get a guaranteed C school or whatever special school you can get into, even if it means signing for 6 instead of 4. It's all 8 anyway, as mentioned in other comment about our. Not only will you have a specialty, often you get promoted earlier, better quotas, and have some skills that may translate to the civilian world. I didn't take up on it, because it is not what I want to do in life, but I could have gone into a ton of fields as a technician, consultant, or an analyst for some 3-letter agencies. I had a huge network of contractors that I could have reached out to, which brings me to my last point. Build your network, especially among the contractors. Not only will it make your job easier, keep up with them and you have a good chance of finding some very good contractor employment at the end. Take every school and cert you can get your hands on. Don't fall for undesignated. You can try all the jobs, it's a scam for the most part. Submarine life is freaking hard. It set me up for a good job and easy life afterwards. But fuck me, the schedule, the hours, and the watch standing in the new plant broke people regularly. You learn a lot about yourself when you live in a literal coffin for 3 months straight. I've always wondered how people manage sub-duty. I've toured ships and even they are incredibly cramped. I cannot imagine what it would be like to live in a sub. Whatever they add to your paycheck for sub-duty, it isn't enough. That they were getting rid of modifying their pension and going to a 401k type retirement starting FY18 with a reduced pension amount. Sell all your stuff and take a very small bag with only one change of clothes with you. Once you're in, don't spend a nickel on anything. Live off of what they give and save. Save. Study and pass your tests the first time and make that rank. Don't get a car. Don't accumulate personal stuff and don't blow your money on babes and booze. Go absolutely as bare and frugal as you can. Don't go into debt. There are scammers everywhere trying to get your hard-earned money. Buy index funds like VTI or invest in some growth stock mutual funds. Check out Dave Ramsey. Retire a millionaire and live your dreams. Catching up after squandering is a B. None of that crap from back then is worth a dang. Sign up for the job you want. Don't settle for anything other than the job you want. Wait if you have to. You will be stuck in that job for 4-6 years and you probably don't want to have one you hate. If you don't want a stay career, but like the work you do, get a job which gives you a skill easily transferable to the outside world. Civilian is best, but you can go gov to contractor. Things like plane mechanics, aviation, intelligence, although you'll enjoy a windowless building for a while. Communications, civil engineering. That your ASVAB scores will let you do whatever you want just meant sign here. We're still going to assign you whatever the heck we want at the moment. If you smoke or drink caffeine, stop at least 1 month before leaving for boot camp. You won't be suffering from withdrawal like the rest of the recruits who didn't quit until the bus ride down. It's not really clean. Barracks, bathroom, a single toilet, your rifle, the yard outside, until the busy work period ends. Ref, in my guard unit, we'd come back from our 2-week annual training on Saturday and get cut loose. Then we'd spend all Sunday morning washing down or cleaning out the trucks. This ended around lunchtime, and all afternoon cleaning our M16s until about 90 minutes before 4:30 p.m. formation. Suddenly, the same rifle that had been rejected for imaginary carbon, dust, dirt, fingerprints, footprints, smears, smudges, or other residue was spotless, even if you hadn't actually kept cleaning it when the armorer rejected it the first time. Spent that last 90 minutes sweeping and mopping the armory offices and such. I wish someone had told me to take more pictures and journal my experiences. Years later, those memories fade, and names are lost. Get ready to do a lot of cleaning. They worry more about how clean things are more than your well-being, or how well you do your job. The only thing that matters is that your room is clean. You are married to the job. It can be quite difficult to meet a worthwhile partner when you are constantly having to move around, deploy, go TDY, work weird hours, etc. Multiple times I've hit it off with a woman only to get orders to PCS shortly after. It's been a good experience, but sometimes it's a lonely one. That they won't help you if you're injured. That is, unless you are already dead, and by help I mean them lying to your family saying they did everything they could. I wish I knew the sheer amount of cleaning I'd have to be doing. Doesn't matter what your job is, you'll be cleaning the frick out of stuff. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.